a few new bad guys, Daniel goes a little bonkers, and some strange children. All tonight on Chevron Locked. Hello, and welcome everybody to episode 16 of Chevron Locked, a Stargate podcast. My name is BC. I'm sure you know that by now, and even more so, I'm sure you know my good friend Kevin.
Hello.
How you doing, sir?
Doing pretty good. Hanging in there.
You having a pretty good weekend?
I am. I couldn't believe we were on episode 16. I almost corrected you.
Wow. We would have, and if you had, we would have just had to, re-record that.
Don't let people know how the sausage is made.
Yeah. There's no man behind the no man behind the curtain.
No, it's all just it's curtain all the way down.
Yeah, it is. I don't know if that was some sexual innuendo or not, to be honest with you.
How you doing?
Yeah. So there was a couple things I wanted to talk to you about. The first one being, did you watch that Thor Ragnarok trailer today?
Holy shit, yes.
Oh my God, man.
I love that. Oh my God, that is my favorite trailer ever.
I don't think I never thought I'd be like, I liked the Thor movies, but they were always kind of like the redheaded stepchild of the MCU.
Sure.
To me.
Yeah, they're a little weird.
They were weird. Go ahead.
No, I do like the way they bring magic in and that it's technology, and I think that's fantastic. I think the story is a little, funky and weird timing wise, but I'm okay with it. I like Thor, I like the story, and I love him in the Avengers.
See, I can't agree with you more. Yeah, it's just they handle it very, very well for the universe that they're setting up. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
but
yeah,
and
the director Taika Waititi, I really am looking forward to this movie. I love the other stuff he's done. I think he's hilarious, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, they had me hooked when fucking Immigrant Song by Zeppelin started playing. I'm like, we're done. Like, you couldn't have picked, that was the best song for that trailer.
Hands down.
Oh, God, it had me pumped. I never thought I'd be excited to see a Thor movie, but then again, I never thought I'd be excited to see an Aquaman in a fucking live-action Justice League movie, but here we are, sir.
Sure, I mean, we can all be wrong, but that's fine.
You played that safe, by the way. Other thing I wanted to ask you about, and I totally meant to ask you last week, is on your other podcast, you guys were going to do a little debate on the Voltron Power Rangers scenario.
Yes. Yeah, we actually changed up the format just a little bit because at the last minute, Jules had a guest available to help him with the Power Rangers side of it. So rather than sit as judge between the two, I was able to go full force for Voltron, which is the better of the two. And we debated it. I think we, in the end, we decided, 2-2, but Voltron is better.
Yes.
I'm casting the deciding vote. I'm the tiebreaker on that because I say so.
You're damn right. Somebody has to wear the pants.
Yeah. But,
and now
it's
you're
pretty
elected.
neat. Pretty neat,
No, it was good. It was good. It was just something I wanted to talk about on our show for anybody that hadn't checked that out yet. Definitely worth a listen. Absolutely worth a listen. So, speaking of debates, so I'm only going to talk about this for a minute because I'm very curious, and I'm not going to be an asshole about this. Okay, I am holding back all resistance that I have. So there's this resurgence of this idea of flat Earth, right? I don't know if you've been paying attention, but for some reason it's getting all this media play right now.
Yeah.
Like, people are coming out of the woodwork saying flat Earth. So I am a very curious person. I really do. So I looked into this for the last couple nights. I watched some YouTube videos. I read some shit. And you're never going to convince me that flat Earth is a reality, right? But I would be very interested to talk to somebody that thoroughly believes that the flat Earth is reality, right?
Well, I can actually put you in touch with one of the guys I work with then if that's truly something you want.
No, I'm dead serious. I don't want to debate because I'm not going to be able to throw the science, like the numbers of the science, at somebody. But I just would love to have an honest conversation with somebody that is their true belief. You know, not somebody that wants to play devil's advocate. You know what I'm saying? I can do that with you all day.
Sure, absolutely.
But somebody that truly believes that the Earth is flat or that it's domed or whatever, you know, whatever they believe.
Hollow,
I'd love to have that.
Yep.
Yeah, would love to fucking have that conversation with somebody because it blows my mind.
I used to think that. I used to think that I wanted to have that conversation with people. And I can say this because he doesn't listen to this podcast. He is crazy, and I wish I had never engaged him because he doesn't stop. And all of his beliefs, even though they basically overwrite each other, he still believes them very, very feverishly. Flat Earth. Aliens have seeded the Earth with humanity to mine monatomic gold. Just like ancient aliens, hollow Earth, and it's like, okay, it can't be hollow and flat, but he does. He believes the whole thing, the whole 9 yards. So
good, man. I would welcome that conversation. To be honest with you, the more of these YouTube videos I watch, I'm like, man, you got to be kidding me. Like, I just can't believe it has the traction going behind it right now. So if any of our listeners, even if there's somebody out there that listens to this that truly believes that and would want to have a conversation about it, hit me up. Send me an email. Email's in the show notes. I would love to talk to you.
Honestly,
I'm a curious person. I want to know where you're coming from. And like I said, I won't have the science necessarily or the numbers to say, well, there is a rotation unit. No, that's not. I'm not going to be able to. I'm not going to throw numbers at you and random shit. I just want to have an open conversation about it. That's all.
Yeah, but if you have those numbers and if you have that information, I'd love to hear that too, because that's part of why I'm able to say that this other guy is crazy, is because all of his evidence is just from YouTube videos and not from anything else.
Yeah.
You know, like, and he always puts the onus of evidence on me. It's like we've never been to the moon. Well, okay, but they left reflectors there and you can shine a laser and it'll shine back at you. And his response is, well, that's what they tell you, but you've never done that. It's like, okay, but someone has. Like, this is a thing that we can prove. Yeah. I just haven't myself.
No, I hear you, man. And like I said, I watched some of those YouTube videos over the last couple nights, and I'm intrigued. I will never believe it. I have my own belief, just like I think everybody else does. But I would just, like I said, just interested in a conversation with somebody that does think that. So neither here nor there. But man, that would be a hell of a fucking devil's advocate argument for you right there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Going back to your show idea last week where you said you just wanted to argue with somebody. There you go.
That I think would be fantastic. That was one other, before I started recording any podcasts, I wanted to do one where every week I would research a conspiracy theory and then explain it to someone who had never heard of it before and then debate it with them.
Oh, that would be very interesting.
And just kind of play the devil's advocate for it and like just go all out and fully believe it to the best of my ability and see if we could come to some sort of agreement on it.
Hey, you just got to believe it for like 45 minutes. That's it.
Oh, exactly. That's all I need.
Yeah. No, true story. So, okay. That was all I had about that. Let's get into Stargate, shall we?
Let's.
Okay. So we are on season 3. We have crossed over into season 3. We are at Fair Game, Legacy, and Learning Curve. Demons is not in this particular podcast.
No matter how many episodes you accidentally watched because you fell asleep, we are only doing these 3.
All right. In all honesty, I only accidentally watched one of them when I woke up because I thought it was in our bundle. So, we'll just look at Fair Game. We'll just come out swinging. Do you want to talk us through that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the episode starts, and E.T. kidnaps Jack and tells him we're going to talk to the Goa'uld and lie to them that he can protect Earth. While we're doing that, someone attacks one of the Goa'uld and blames Teal'c. We lie to them. You see the pattern? Mm-hmm. And manage to get out of it.
We didn't lie so much as we threw a Hail Mary fake truth. We presented alternate facts.
Alternate facts. There you go. That's exactly it. Yep. Yeah. No.
So this was Thor's first appearance in season 3, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Which I think we both fucking love Thor.
Oh, he's the best.
You know, and again, from the visual side of this episode, there are times that Thor definitely just looks like a puppet, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But when he came down and explained to Jack that they were going to do this peace treaty, they're going to have these negotiations for a peace treaty for Earth. At one point, it switches over to special effects, and it shows him getting out of his chair to hand Jack that communication device.
Oh, that's CGI. Oh.
Yeah, that kind of threw me out of it just a minute.
Yeah, it looked nothing like him at all.
No,
like it wasn't even just a poor representation. It was almost as bad as Free Willy.
Yeah. Yeah, it was rough, dude. I'm like, couldn't you just kept him in the chair and, you know, he could have just reached an arm out to Jack, you know, that type of thing.
Yeah,
but
exactly. You know what? But they got a bigger budget this year, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
And so they decided to just go with it.
Yeah. On top of that, we got three new golds.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
nerdy. I'm still thinking about your podcast. Sorry.
There you go.
That was a free plug, by the way. That one's on me.
Nerdy Things Podcast releases on Thursdays. Subscribe and rate us on iTunes.
There you go. No, Nirti. That was the first time we'd seen her, but we had definitely gotten mentions of her before.
Yeah, we got her influence in Singularity when she killed everyone on that planet and put a bomb in Cassandra.
Yes. And then Kronos and you were brand new for us.
Me?
Wow. Really?
Listen, I have in my notes, I think I'm Jack at my morning meeting at work because I do the same stupid shit that he does.
Well, let's see if you're still Jack when we get to point of view. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got 3 new golds. We got a little bit of internal strife between them, and we also got what I was kind of my bigger takeaway from this. And I don't know if this is going to be something that comes into play down the road because I can't fucking remember. Is we got that they had been working on a cloaking technology.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we did see some of that with Hathor and her ability. We saw that the first time we had her when they lit her little bathtub on fire, and she was semi-invisible, and she ran out the back door for some reason. And we saw that, was it last week when we were talking about how she made everybody think that they were older.
Yes.
Was that Out of Mind? Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, she was invisible for most of that. Kind of neat. You know, I think I find it a little suspicious that it's the 2 women gold that we've met that have the ability to become invisible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if that means anything or if that says anything, but I find it kind of interesting.
It's a coincidence. I'll give it that much. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
We got a little bit more backstory of Teal'c, about his father and Kronos basically killing him. Yeah. And that was kind of the catalyst. That was my understanding, is that was the catalyst for Teal'c wanting to hook up with Apophis.
Yeah. Yep.
Because they were mortal enemies, and he just figured this was going to be his way to get to Kronos.
That's why he became the biggest, baddest gold out there, or Jaffa out there, so that he could become the first prime of Apophis and exact his revenge on Kronos.
Which, even if we get that little bit of backstory about characters, even if sometimes they come in, you know, filler episodes, I'm all for that. I like the idea of you flushing out your characters, because you are into season 3 now. You know, like, we do know quite a bit about our 4 primary characters, but it's always nice when they flush that out, even just a little bit more. Like, even just that little thing about his dad. You know?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
It just builds out the characters that much more.
It's that little building on concepts that makes this story so fantastic. You know, every little pebble is another step you can take in this story.
What did you think, by the way? Was you a fan of that episode, or?
You know what? I liked all 3 episodes this week, but I don't have a ton of notes on any of them.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I have like half a page on the first 2, and I do have almost a full page on Learning Curve. But you know, it was a good episode. We see Carter get promoted to Major.
Mm-hmm.
We get a typical Jack speech when he says, "I'm a man of few words," and then gets beamed up and finishes with, "And in closing." I love that. That's so Jack.
It is. It is. I agree with you, by the way, that I actually have mostly positive things to say about these 3 episodes. With Learning Curve, I have the most to say. That's completely weird. I think Learning Curve provided more talking points, though, than the first, than Fair Gamer Legacy myself. But I thought it was a good episode. I really did. Anytime you get Thor in there, pardon me. Anytime you get Thor in there, and again, you push the narrative further, I'm all for it. I thought that when they got to the negotiation tables the second time, because of course Jack inadvertently offends them and has to do a little bit of groveling, and I just thought it was great. They had Daniel whip up an apology letter. Basically, Jack just signed it because it was written in gold, so there was no way Jack could read it. He just fucking signs it, you know.
He doesn't care.
He doesn't care. But when they get to the table again, they talk about Thor had mentioned that this would probably work, but it's going to come at a great cost, you know. And I think the initial conversation was that maybe hosts or something like that, and it wasn't going to be that. It was going to be that that the Goa'uld would leave them alone, but it meant that they had to remove that the Goa'uld were going to take the Stargate, and not just the Stargate, but they specifically said both Stargates, which I thought was interesting that the Goa'uld knew of the second one.
Yeah.
At that point.
And we don't have the ability to get another one.
Correct.
At this point. So, I mean, that would be devastating. That'd be absolutely awful.
You're correct. Unless the Asgard stepped in, you know, like let's say in 20 years and said, okay, don't let them know that that we gave this to you, you know?
Oh, we'd fuck that up on day one.
Oh, God, well, fuck. If Jack's still around, yeah, we would.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
No, he would definitely.
Yeah. Other than that, again, we got a little bit more backstory about the Asgard, that he was sent, that Thor was given the okay to go and work these negotiations, but that they couldn't spare any more ships other than Thor's because they were dealing with their own bigger issue in their home territory of the universe.
Bum, bum, bum.
I know. Great setup. It was mentioned like 2 or 3 times in that episode, so it's something that they definitely wanted to let you know that there's something out there, you know, that was larger than the Goa'uld, that that at least the Asgard are saying is a bigger threat than the Goa'uld are, you know. But I did think it was kind of cool that they basically have them. They're bluffing. The Asgard are basically bluffing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's in line with what we've seen. The one ship can wreck house, and they don't need much more. But if they had to go all out, they'd be in some trouble because we've only seen Thor come around here, and then when Jack traveled to them, they were all there. You know, and it seems to be just Thor on that ship. There's nobody else there, so
we weren't ever given any inclination that there was anybody else on that ship.
Yeah, I think he's alone.
Yeah, but I did. It was just the idea of the Goa'uld, right? These king manipulators, these great liars, basically, are getting bullshitted by these small little gray aliens.
Yeah,
you
I
know
love
that these master manipulators can't fucking figure out that they're getting fucking the wool pulled over on them. So, just thought it was a cool little thing. So, what else do you have about that episode?
Did Jack and company know that Thor was going to beam down with his own chair? Because they left room at the table.
They did.
They made the Goa'uld sit in one of our little rolly office chairs, but they left some space, and then all of a sudden Thor shows up in his own little cushy jacuzzi chair or whatever it was.
Yeah, and you're right, because from this point forward, whenever we see Thor, and I do specifically remember this in previous watchings, that every time he shows up, he's in his own chair.
Mm-hmm.
But they wouldn't have known that on the first visit. No,
unless he said something to them, which I'd buy. But I just found it a little odd that he just beamed down with it completely with a chair.
Yeah, he's like, no, I bring in my own boys.
And how does that work? Like, is that chair connected to his ship in any way so that like when he hits something, it doesn't go flying? And he had to like disconnect it and beam it down? How do you differentiate between chair and ship at that point when you're beaming something?
Because technology, yo.
And the other thing I have, so when Teal'c meets Cronus in the hallway,
Yeah.
and they start yelling at each other in Goa'uld, Teal'c actually says something like Kelmar Tokim to him,
Okay.
which we've heard before, because that is the rite where a cuckolded husband looks for retribution. And so had nothing to do with the interaction between
those two.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, at any point, can we just get some subtitles?
Yeah. I mean, I looked it up, and I'm getting that translation from a website that it's stargate-sg1-solutions.com. And I did find it other places, but that was the first place I saw it where it was for that.
Okay. And maybe that's why we don't get subtitles. That they just recycle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's possible. Either way, it would have that particular scene with as pissed as Kronos was, and then as worked up as Teal'c was, it would have been nice to have some subtitles there.
Yeah, a lot of testosterone, not a lot of release.
No, not at all. Not at all. So that pretty much covers it for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think we got some Dr. Frasier.
Yeah.
I like Frasier a lot.
I know you do.
She's pretty good. Yeah. I think that was it about that one, to be honest with you.
Decent episode.
Decent episode. Like I said, none of these episodes were bad in my opinion.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So let's move over to Legacy. Another, that was, side note, that was a Peter DeLuise directed episode.
Yeah, I noticed that actually.
Yeah. Go ahead, buddy. Talk to me,
So in
Goose.
this one, the gang discovers 9 dead dudes, and for some reason, Daniel goes crazy. Not just a little crazy, but like foaming at the mouth, rubber broom, crazy, flat earth, crazy. Turns out it's a space slug that wants to kill Teal'c's symbiote that Machello made somehow and left there maybe. I don't know. It was a little weird for me.
Yeah.
But not a bad episode. It was nice to see some of what Machello had done, because before that it was just him telling us he had fought the Goa'uld with no evidence otherwise, and Teal'c sort of backing him up.
Okay, I agree. Okay, I agree with you there. I thought Machello was just kind of a one-off character. Like you did your little episode with him. I would have liked to see them use a different narrative device, I guess, to explain those what Jack calls landmines. That somebody put those there, and then it just took the Goa'uld a little bit longer to trigger him to release the virus and yada yada yada.
I mean, that's just it. This could have been anyone. You could have built into this another unknown enemy.
Yeah.
Even if we never got the payoff on it, which I know happens frequently on this show, I would have been fine with it just being some random guy's voice in your head telling you that you're now free of the Goa'uld oppressors. That'd be cool. I'm on board.
No, I agree. I don't know, rehashing that fucking Machello character. I was just like, really? We're gonna go down that road again? Like, I really wasn't a big fan of that particular episode anyway, and I thought it was a really cool story. And I will say this, I liked that they kind of gave Daniel like a hard acting role. I don't know how hard it is to act crazy, but he pulled it off very, very well.
Yeah.
I actually have no complaints about the acting, and we've seen some Jack-centric ones where Jack has to, act a little crazy from time to time, and it was cool to see Daniel get that. But I thought it was a really cool episode. I thought the story was very, very intriguing. I just didn't, like I said, man, it was just rehashing that Machello character. I thought that they could have done that differently and made it work.
I think they just wanted to reuse footage. I think they didn't want to get in another actor. They already had that clip of Daniel wearing the Machello makeup.
Yeah, and just ran with it.
Yeah.
No. Again, we got. I was getting ready to say something, and I can't remember now. Oh, visuals. A lot better visuals than in the last episode. Pardon me. There was some great stuff with right where towards the start of the episode, Daniel's starting to lose it a little bit. Like he's starting to become unwound a bit, and SG-7 returns from the Stargate, and he looks down, and of course they're all zombified, and it looked good. It was a good visual.
Yeah, it reminded me of The Walking Dead very much.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, pre-Walking Dead stuff right there.
Yeah.
And again, there was a couple of other plots or points that I thought were really nice. When he's in his room alone and he hears the voices coming from his closet, he opens up and the Stargate is like in his closet, and you get that one zombie arm that comes through and grabs him.
That was kind of neat.
There was a lot that worked for me in this, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that zombie head was a little out of proportion.
A little bit.
It seemed big. But I did like the effect. I thought having it in the closet, as he called it, was neat. Worked out.
Yeah. There was only a couple of them. What's weird to me is that it seems like the more simple effects are the ones that they had the hardest time with.
Yeah.
Like when you actually get to the virus or the slugs, the worms, whatever you want to call them. Like those visuals where it shows the first time it happens is Daniel's in his nice little comfortable padded room, and he charges towards an empty wall, and Tilk kind of grabs him to stop him from hurting himself, and you see the one going to Tilk, and it's a very small visual effect, but it didn't work well for me.
Yeah, I was a little confused at first why Teal'c wouldn't feel that on his hand, but I think that they kind of explained it that they were like phasing through things and that solid matter didn't matter to them. Okay,
and if that was the case, then do you get the feeling that Frasier, Jack, and Carter felt them towards the end of the episode when they got loose out of containment? Because I got the feeling that they felt them, or else, I don't know.
I don't know that they necessarily felt them. I mean, the girls, they went through the gloves, and so passing through the gloves into their hand, I think they were reacting more to the thought of having them on them than the actual feeling of them being in there.
Okay. I can see that.
And then it went through the glass out the side and somehow down and across the floor and up the wall to where Jack was without anybody seeing it and into his hand. And I think that was more a visual reaction than a physical reaction.
Okay. I could see that. I can. I'll give 1 point to Kevin for that one. But what else? So you liked the episode, all said and done, right?
I did. I thought it was a little weird that we had 2 episodes in a row with invisible enemies and 2 episodes in a row where Jolinar is the savior.
Oh, you're right. I forgot that Jolinar kind of was the catalyst in the first episode.
Yeah, like that's exactly what happened. Was Jolinar remembering Kronos and Jolinar giving Sam the ability to heal him, and then in this one it was that her having carried Jolinar and Jolinar dying left her immune, and they were able to separate the platelets in her blood and inject everybody else with it. Which I want to point out, I found a little agonizing when she was getting that information from Frasier, and the other doctor is like, "You can stop. You're all stupid." I'm not the brightest kid. All right. I'm not the smartest one in the room, but I know with a centrifuge, you can separate platelets in blood and then blood type doesn't matter. I'm not a doctor. You're a doctor. Yeah. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. And you're right, man. I totally forgot about that. He's just screaming. He's like, no, it's not going to work. There's not enough time, and it will take days to do this. And then all of a sudden he's like, wait, I see where she's going with this. Yes. And then all of a sudden he's like, you need to listen to me very carefully. And I'm like, no, Carter's got this at this point, dude. You need to shut the fuck up.
Then again, it's like he's a typical intellectual. He knows the answer, and that is the only answer. They need to do a clinical study and figure out which of the 42 proteins are the protein that this thing is looking for, and then go and replicate that protein marker so that they can, come up with a cure for this. They don't need that. They just need all 42 proteins and inject them and call it a day, because one of them is going to do what we need and the other 41 are harmless.
Correct. He was useless in that scene.
Yeah. He's always useless. I hate him.
Yeah, not a big fan. Just give me Frasier, man. If you need a doctor, fucking put Frasier in there. Frasier was in there, actually.
Even with a space worm in her head, she's better than that guy.
Yeah. She was fighting through the hallucinations, you know? She's like, no, not today, Jesus. You know?
Yep.
I agree. A good episode. Like I said, I had my bitchings about fucking Bocello and all that shit. But would you, I mean, I guess we call this a filler episode?
I
kind
guess. Yeah. I mean,
it's
it
more
really didn't...
filler than it is propelling the story arc.
I'm trying to think. You're right. It really had nothing that's long lasting. Yeah, I don't think there was anything massively propellant in this one.
I don't think so. I would classify it as a filler, but it was fun. It was a fun episode.
Yeah, it was a fun episode. Let's see. Spoiler alert for the future. So they mention that Daniel has no history of schizophrenia in his past, in his family history. And I know that to be not true because I have seen the episode with the crystal skull.
What? Wait, isn't Crystal Skull come up in this season?
Does it? I haven't looked ahead. I'm trying to stay away from the order of them. But actually, I think I remember last time I watched it through thinking the same thing that after I saw that one. So we'll have to wait and see.
Wow,
that's a good episode.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure Crystal Skull shows up in this season. So
it is. It's episode 21 this season.
Okay,
so we'll get there this season.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. When Frasier and Carter were on opposite sides of that containment unit, trying to figure out if the tablet was where the worms came from, Janet says the one on the left is such and such, and the one on the right is such and such. They're on opposite sides. Who's left? Who's right?
Okay, listen, man, you got to give Frasier a break.
Why? She is a scientist. She is there. She needs to know that she needs to be accurate and accountable for her words and clear with her directions.
Okay.
Because she's going to get someone killed. And in fact, she almost did.
Okay, so only one of them was actually moving the stones towards the tablet, though.
Sure, but...
I think it was Carter, correct?
I think it was Frasier.
Was Frasier the one
Carter
moving them?
Was on the other side, ready to manipulate things if shit went wrong. So how is Carter supposed to know which one is the safe one and which one isn't?
With her eyes?
No, with her directions from Frasier that suddenly got fucked up and she grabs the wrong one.
Well, it clearly did get fucked up.
Well, obviously.
And I'm not going to say that was Frasier's fault. I'm not giving her any blame. I'm sorry, sir.
Yeah. I want to know if the orderlies in the mental hospital where they were keeping Daniel have clearance to know about the Stargate. Because the doctor and Daniel were talking very freely in front of these people who I imagine are just working a 9 to 5 on a military base.
Maybe before they went into the room, the doctor was like, and they're dealing with crazy people, dude. Like, they're probably hearing all sorts of random shit come out of people's mouths.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that that's a perfect cover until that crazy guy goes, no, listen, you need to talk to Jack because there's some crazy shit happening and the bug that was making me crazy from outer space went into the other guy. And then the doctor goes, and calls Jack and then releases that patient.
See, I would be worried at the releasing part of it, but not anything prior to that. You know what I'm saying?
Held off on the medication. Holding off on the medication is the same as saying, I believe you. And if you're an orderly and you have a doctor who you know to be a hard-ass medicating doctor, and all of a sudden one of the patients goes, surprise, I'm not crazy anymore, and the doctor says, maybe you're not, and releases him, I got to question that.
I would agree that there's no way they have security clearance. Like, there's no way, like, some dude that's probably making, in 1997, like, what, $10 an hour?
Right.
There's no way that guy has full security clearance.
Yeah, here you go. Sign here. We're going to court-martial you if you do anything, if you say anything to anybody. This is high treason. If you leak it, here's $9.50. Thanks. Also, you get a 15-minute break every 4 hours.
Yeah. You can't smoke inside. You got to smoke outdoors.
It was 97. Was that true? I think you could smoke indoors.
Sure. Probably, especially in hospitals still probably. That's funny. I didn't think about that. But yeah, there's no way they had security clearance. I refuse to believe that that some guy that was changing bedpans had security clearance for something like that.
Yeah. And the last thing I have is Janet actually tells Carter, get as much blood as you can and put it in the centrifuge. And she gets one little tiny vial.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus Christ, they took more blood than that from me last week to test my blood sugar. They needed 1. They took 32. I think you can spare a little more than that.
Yeah. See, and I was thinking, I'm like, oh my God, Carter's going to pass out because she's just going to start pulling blood vial after vial
seriously,
after vial.
Like just tie it off and just slit your wrist.
Yeah.
Nope. She just went with this little dinky little, here you go. Is this enough?
Come on. I'm trying to be nice with Carter, man. You can't throw up softballs like that to me,
I love her. I just have to play devil's advocate. I think she's spectacular. She's a major.
Well, she didn't get a major. She didn't get the rank of major from doing shit like that. I'll tell you that much.
No, and once she hit that, she didn't have anything else to prove. She got dumb. It was amazing.
Yeah. Does she cap out as major?
I don't
in the
remember.
show.
I honestly don't remember. I'm gonna have to look that up at some point.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get there. But I was just curious. It just popped in my head. That's all. Sometimes shit like that does. Yeah, no, it was a pretty good episode. That's all I'll say. For a filler episode, pretty damn good.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'd agree with you.
But again, it was kind of that localized. Like when I think filler episodes, I kind of think more along the lines of, and it was something that me and you talked about before we started doing the podcast when we were talking about ideas. I remember I talked to you about, I just don't like the filler episodes. And the one episode, which I don't know when it shows up, I don't know what season it is, but the one episode where Jack goes back to being like a 15-year-old.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about? Like,
yeah.
That is the epitome of filler episode for me. So this particular episode doesn't fall under that category for me, but it also doesn't really move the overall story forward either,
Sure.
So,
Sure.
God, I can't wait for that fucking episode, dude. We're gonna go to we may have to just make that its own podcast because I think we're gonna go to battle over that one pretty good.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. So let's move on to the second Peter DeLuise directed episode. Point of view. Go.
Learning curve?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, that's what I thought you said.
Shit, dude. I should not have taken that nap this afternoon.
Tell me you watched the right episode.
I did watch Learning Curve, I promise.
All right, well, I'm going to describe it, and if it sounds like what you watched, we'll talk about
Listen.
it, okay?
Okay, we'll just say this. Did Jack talk about a fucking puppy again?
Yeah.
Okay, we're on the same page. Let's go.
All right, so we find a new planet full of assholes who have kids smarter than them. Jack eventually kidnaps a girl and teaches her how to have fun. Get your mind out of the gutter. She then goes back and teaches that to everyone else on their planet, and everybody lives happily ever after.
One, he forced it. He didn't it wasn't like she was like, oh, Jack, what is this? What is this fun you speak of and how do we do it? He was like, no, get the fuck over here. You're going outside. Like, he forced it upon her. He's like, no, that's not what I wanted you to draw. Draw something better.
Have more fun.
Yeah, no, yeah. You're having fun at like a 4. I need you to have fun at like a 9.
We're going to kick it up a notch.
Yeah. God.
No, I know.
Okay, so let's just start at the beginning before we, like, this fucking, what is it with Jack and kids, dude? Like,
I don't know. He has this weird relationship with kids. I think, honestly, it's that his son killed himself and he doesn't know how to deal with anyone ever again.
Yeah.
I think Jack is broken.
Man. Or it's almost like he sees like every kid is being broken and he wants to fix them.
Maybe. That does play into his personality.
A little bit.
He is that leader hero type.
Yeah. Oh man, it's just he forces, like, okay. So let's just start at the beginning.
We'll get there.
We will.
I promise.
We absolutely will get there. So, maybe not at the beginning. I don't know. So I think it just gets weird. we'll kind of jump around, I guess, that the nanobites come into play.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought the whole science behind this was a little hinky. I'm a little confused by how this works and by how they think this works. Because it seemed to me, and correct me if you have a different understanding.
Okay.
But what I got from this was that when they have a baby that is chosen to be one of these, I forgot to write down the name, these special children, they inject them with the nanobots that make them smarter and allow them to learn more easily. And then they spend the first 12 years of their life focused on a profession or a whatever it is, learning everything about something, becoming a master at something. And then when they hit 12, they take those nanobots out and implant one into each adult to give them the knowledge of that child.
That is exactly basically how I thought that one worked too.
Okay, so if you have millions of these nanobots that all contain the knowledge of that child, why does removing all of them make the child stupid? Because it's not like the nanobots are the brain of the child at that point, because they're just replicating the same information over and over.
Correct.
And you could, if that's true, do the same thing by injecting one into the child and have it learn everything that the child learns, and then replicate that into others and inject that into the adults.
Correct.
Or leave one in the child, and the child would retain those memories. So I found this to be a little off on the science aspect of it.
Yes, 100% agree. The only thing I will say was that when what was the young girl's name? It wasn't Kalen. Kalen was the guy.
Yeah, the names on this screwed me up.
Shit. Wow. Okay. Anyway. Oh, Mirren. Sorry.
Yeah.
Mirren. So Mirren is describing, because Fraser finds these nanites in her blood, and they want to put the base on lockdown because they've dealt with these things before, and Mirren explains to the SGC like how these things work and what they're there for. And the one part that she mentioned was that basically at birth, they're given them to help speed up the building of synapses.
Sure.
So having more than one at that point would kind of make sense to me, that if they put more than just one in there, that these things are just fucking firing off, like just building the synapses. But I agree that what they're telling us are that these nanites are the only thing that retain information, that the actual brain doesn't store anything at that point.
Right, but that also doesn't make sense because they found one in her blood, which was why they were freaking out. And she says that when one of them becomes broken, it detaches itself, deactivates itself, and flushes itself out through her blood. So are you telling me that when one of them breaks, she forgets something?
That's exactly what they're trying to tell you. That is precisely what they're trying to tell you. Is that whatever information that one was carrying would then be lost because her brain doesn't actually retain any of that information at that point.
Right, but by that logic, taking any one of those out and injecting it into the adults of their society are going to give the adults only what that one knows.
Exactly.
And no more information. But you're going to get much better progress. You're going to get much more information having all of that knowledge in one person rather than spread it out over 1 million people. Because each of those 1 million people now has a small piece of that puzzle and can't put it together.
Exactly. I'm not disagreeing with you here. I'm fucking.
Right, cool.
I'm on the same. I'm agreeing with you. I'm on the same fucking page here.
You're wrong.
Yeah. No, you're fucking right. Yeah. No, it makes no fucking sense. And even then, good. So I guess my question would then be, do these people have functioning brains? Like, clearly you do. Like, that was a bit of a rhetorical question. Wouldn't it almost be easier to, like, so it was 12, right? 12 is when this surgery or this fucking thing is performed. Kaleem or whatever it was. Wouldn't it be smarter then to just download those nanites into a computer that everybody would have access to, and you can just read that information?
I mean, it seems like they came up with the way to transfer these memories at some point. They didn't seem advanced enough that they could do that, though. No, I mean, I do think that them having the information at their hand rather than having to look it up would speed things along. But I think that this was not the right way that the story should have approached it. I mean, I feel like you can write this story so that it doesn't do the same thing, but still has the same emotional component to it.
Gets to the same, still goes from A to B to C, but without some of the luggage.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the message could have been that they don't have a childhood, and we could have flipped their society on its head still, rather than they don't have a childhood and then they become vegetables that just kind of get shunned because they forgot how to learn.
That's what I'm saying, though. It's like, I don't understand then at that point. So these kids are 12. They take the nanites out and they're put into a room.
And just kind of left there. But that's because it was a small subset of the children that were chosen for this, not every child.
Not every child, correct. But,
so,
like, can the brain not function? Like, can the brain not learn anything at that point? Which clearly we know is false because we see at the end of the episode that these kids are playing.
Right.
You know?
It's just that as a society, their concept of learning is putting that little nanite in their brain. So they don't put in the effort to actually go out and learn anything, is what they're putting forth. But then again, that's the first 12 fucking years of these kids' lives.
Yeah.
So
what about the other 40 or 50?
I don't know.
And see, this is one of those instances, I think we've talked about this a few times, where this could potentially be a very hard story to tell in a TV environment, in a 40-minute episode or 45-minute episode, is that there's so much like I want to know, at what point did they start doing the nanites? Like, where were they before the nanites? Like, were they traditionalists? Like, did they have written history and written books that they learned from, and then they got to the nanites?
Well, that's the thing, is Daniel says that they've come so far in the last couple of decades as we have in the last couple of 100 years. That's not a long time.
It's not.
Like, you say a couple of decades, I think 2. I'm willing to give you 6 and have you still call it a couple, and that's being really generous.
Oh, yeah.
So 60 years ago was, I mean, really, where were we 60 years ago? Where were they 60 years ago? You're telling me in 60 years, their concept of learning, all of their books, all of their schools have just been wiped off the face of their planet?
Yeah. And not only have they been wiped off, but people have completely forgotten about them.
I don't think that that's possible. Even if it was 100 years, even if it was, longer than that, it just doesn't make sense that you would have a society that reached a point where it could create these things, these nanobots, that would learn for you, that they wouldn't have that concept of learning and teaching and then build better things from that, because it didn't seem like they had anything else.
No.
It was a bunch of buildings with some raised walkways. It was like, I don't know, Venice without the water. That was it. That's all we got.
Yeah. There was no arts. There was no nothing.
Yeah.
That was just, it was whatever they were building to. And that was the other thing. I'm like, what are you building to? Like, what's your end game here? Like, self-defense? Because that's kind of what I got out of it, is that basically all your knowledge is going towards self-defense.
Right.
Like, you don't give a shit about where you came from or expanding your knowledge or anything. You just want self-defense. I don't know.
Yep.
Again, this is one of those episodes that I liked it. Don't get me wrong, man. We're shitting on this motherfucker right now. I enjoyed the episode. I really did. But
no, it was a fun episode.
But it's just such a hard episode to put into a TV experience, because you only have 40 or 45 minutes to fucking flush this thing out from start to finish,
Yeah, I mean, but at the end, it did feel like a lot longer. I felt like this episode got kind of tedious.
Oh, God. Yeah, well, towards the end, it was the whole, all right, I think it's safe to get into it. It was the whole fucking Jack dynamic that made it, I think, draw out, like him forcing her to go to that playground, and then
he took her to the school, and he wasn't arrested as a sex offender.
Yeah.
And then all the kids ran up to him, and then the teacher was there. And for some reason, they gave her an easel, and all the other kids had to sit at fucking desks with pencils.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I
know. It was a little weird.
Oh, man. And just, he was like, the girl just tried to paint for the first time in her life, right? For the first time, Not only did she try painting for the first time, but she found out what the fuck drawing was like fucking 6 hours ago, you know?
Right. When she was talking to Carter about how Carter lost her virginity at age 15. Did you catch that?
Well, that's what I figured was about to come out of her mouth, yeah.
Yeah. Carter's like, plenty of things in my life didn't happen until I was 15, girl.
And she was like, fun stuff.
Nothing.
Yeah. But, yeah, you know, I'm like, the girl just figured out how to draw. Then she's she is forced to paint. There was no alternative there. Like, Jack forced her. He might as well have had a fucking gun, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Forced her to paint. And then by the time, because she did one painting, right, of the circuits of I guess that was something we could talk about, the NACWA generator. Like, we did get a piece of technology here. But she painted the circuits for the NACWA generator. And he's like, no, that's fucking shit. I want a fucking flower. Paint me a fucking flower. And she's like, I don't have any purple. He's like, I don't give a shit. Paint me a fucking flower.
Yeah, he was going to, like, tip that easel over and just scream in her face like Gordon Ramsay.
And, you know, the other part to that is she's like, I need purple because the flower is purple. And he's like, no, whatever color you want it to be. And she's like, well, I can mix this red and this blue. And he's like, no, red. You have to paint it red. I'm like, dude. She's never painted before, and she just figured out the color wheel. Let her fucking play with the color wheel.
Seriously, you know? No, red.
Yeah, no, fuck. And now it's not just he wants a fucking flower. Now the poor girl's got to paint a goddamn forest. You know?
Yep.
Fucking happy little trees, and fuck off, Jack. Leave the girl alone. You know? Bob Ross, she is not.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I understand, and I think you're right. I think you mentioned it perfectly, is that I think that he might be, I don't want to say attracted to kids, but he's drawn to kids because of what happened to his son and whatnot. I get that, man, and I get that that should be worked into storylines from time to time. I think it's a good narrative, but it always comes off so weird to me. I don't know.
It's a little stilted, especially his obsession with dogs and rules for kids on Earth. I think he has a very one way black and white view of what childhood should be. And I think he's trying to enforce that on everybody. And I do think it is because his son, Tyler Charlie, shot himself.
Tyler Charlie.
Yeah.
TC. Yeah, no, and it's funny, man, when they're sitting in the elevator and she's like, you're taking me outside, aren't you? You know? And he just looks at her all quiet, and I'm like, dude, okay, one, that's kind of a creepy scene, but two, I'm like, he's going to take her outside and he's going to give her a fucking dog. And then he didn't. And I was like, oh, yeah, awesome. And then at the end of the episode, he's like, have you ever seen a dog before? And I'm like, fuck, Jack.
I know. Well, it's funny. You mentioned the elevator scene, because that's actually just a little room. If you look at the floor, there's no grate for the elevator. Ooh. It doesn't move. Because as a TV show, it's cheaper and easier to build something that looks like an elevator than an actual elevator.
Apparently. Apparently it is, sir.
But yeah, there's no break in the floor. When the door opens, it's just floor all the way.
God. What a good episode it was. But I wish that could have gotten flushed out more. That's all I'm saying.
As an episode, though, it does a really good job of showing everyone in their element. You've got Daniel, who's playing with that mural that for some reason when he picks it up depicts something Goa'uld when it looked like poured concrete to me and shouldn't look like that. You've got Teal'c, who is basically describing to the kid all of the Goa'uld and all of their history, and the kid is praising him for his stature and scariness. You get Carter working in the lab on the NACWA generator that she built in 12 hours, somehow milling all the parts and soldering all the circuit boards herself perfectly the first time, and then ignoring every OSHA safety precaution and turning that fucking thing on, not once, but twice because it didn't work the first time, and then she opens it up and fiddles around with it barehanded.
Dude, that the second time that thing fucking like the time it worked, the second time she turns it on, right, and you get that fucking energy pulse. I thought they were gonna high five each other, and I'm like, you have no idea what you just sent out into the universe, like that.
No,
you could have just neutered every dude on that fucking base.
Yeah, congratulations, you all now have super cancer.
Like, you had no idea, and she was just happy about it. I'm like, fuck off, Carter.
Yeah, it was like a Mentos commercial.
Oh, God, it was. Yeah. Holy shit.
And then Jack was in his element, just being a dick to kids.
Yeah. Well, and I think that the other part of that episode was, again, SG-1 going to a fucking planet, enjoying their time for a little bit, finding something that they don't agree with, and then attempting to force their will or their opinion or this is the way it should be onto that culture. And that's a recurring theme throughout SG-1 right there.
Hi, we're from Earth. We're here to see how you do things different than us. Oh, no, you're doing that different than us. You're wrong.
You're wrong. And we're going to tell you, not only we're going to tell you that you're wrong, we're not going to, in good faith, you sent one of your people over to SGC, right?
We're not letting them
We're
back.
not letting them back. Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
We're going to take our ball and go
Yeah,
home.
go ahead. Go through the fucking Stargate. But guess what? There's a metal iris on the other side, and you're going to fucking die. High five.
Yeah. And I was glad that the kid did ask him what the iris was, because I was like, Daniel, you fucking moron. You academic asshole. Don't just say words. Tell them what they mean.
I know. I just, God. Really, there's no reason I should like this episode.
No.
You know, when you think about it. But I did.
I know.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I did too. I thought it was a good episode. It was light. It was different. It was, it had the Naquita generator. It had some stuff that I think we're gonna see some cool shit come out of. So I'm not displeased.
No, I'm not displeased. I enjoyed that we have enough to talk about that episode. Whether it be bad or good or whatever. I'm just glad that it gave us that conversation.
Yeah. One other question. Why was their Stargate red? We've never seen another different colored Stargate before, but this one was definitely red tinted.
I don't know, and to be honest with you, I did not pick that up.
Yeah, if you look at the thumbnail on IMDb, you can even see it there.
Okay, I'm pulling that up right now. Yeah, I didn't pick that up at all, man. That's crazy. Good job.
Yeah, I mean I don't know. I mean, I've read some fan fiction out there where like there are different colored gates that do different things. So there's a different like other Stargate network. I've just never seen another colored gate.
I can honestly say I have not either. But I mean, the way I missed that one, it's possible that I have seen one and I just went right past me.
Yeah. How would you know?
I wouldn't. So I wonder if there's any explanation. I wonder if somebody's come up with some sort of reasoning for that. You're right. It's just like this almost copper red tint to it.
Yeah, definitely.
Huh.
I don't know. I actually don't see anything out of on it. I just searched for it.
That's very interesting. Good pickup on that, sir.
Huh.
Good job.
Cool.
What other notes did you have about that episode?
Nothing. That is literally everything I had. I was able to work it into conversation as if it was natural.
As if we've...
it was so seamless you didn't even know.
It's like we've done this a couple of times or something. 3 really good episodes, man. I mean, in all honesty, like we spent a lot of time bitching about Learning Curve, but it was a good episode. And like I said, it provided us with stuff to talk about. Whether or not they intended that to happen or not is a whole other ballgame.
Well,
yeah, I know. So yeah, next week, we've got episodes 6, 7, and 8. We've got Point of View, Dead Man's Switch, and Demons. A couple of Peter DeLuise episodes and a Martin Wood episode. They seem to be pretty much the main directors of this season. Those two.
Yeah,
I think so.
Which I'm happy with.
I am too. Yeah, I can't. I was getting ready to say something, but so far, direction-wise, I've been very, very happy with that. So, and even the writing really has just stepped up over the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, I think the show is definitely starting to hit its stride. It's coming into its budget. the characters feel confident that they know what they're doing. I'm very happy. I'm excited, looking forward.
Yeah, and then also I noticed. I was going to ask you, did you notice that there was some TV network that just started replaying Stargate?
Yeah, that was. I saw that.
What was that?
I cannot think of it.
I wanted to make an announcement of that just for anybody that doesn't follow the Stargate subreddit, that if anybody was looking to, that if anybody needed a place to watch those episodes, I'm pulling it up right now because I do watch mine on Hulu.
Comet TV, I think it was.
Comet TV, that sounds about right, to be honest with you. But I know that it was, I mean, you used to be able to watch all of these on Netflix, but, Netflix no longer is carrying them, so I know.
Yeah, Hulu outbid them.
God, that sucks, man, because with Hulu, you have to pay for the fucking no commercials aspect of it. It sucks, man. Like, you're already getting me for, the basic subscription, like, that should cover it. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's just me bitching about somebody charged me to watch commercials.
No, it's, you know what? I'm sorry. We're going to stop here for a second. We're going to go into an aside.
Okay.
I hate the gates that they artificially put between you and content. You know what? It's so much easier to go out and pirate this stuff, and you get better quality in most cases because it's not buffering from the internet. Mm-hmm. You don't have to worry about commercials. It's a DVD rip, and you can just download it and not worry about it. I'm paying for Hulu.
Yep.
You know what? I pay for Netflix. I have Amazon Prime. So I'm the dumb guy that's paying for all of it, but it's so much tougher for me to justify this, to pay $12 a month to not have to watch commercials when I could take literally 10 minutes and download it.
I 100% agree with you. I too do Netflix, Amazon Prime, and Hulu. And I absolutely agree with you that with Netflix, I've never once had a problem paying $7.99 a month for Netflix content.
Nope.
Never.
Nope. Don't even think about it.
I get movies and television shows without commercials, and Netflix does a really good job of producing content in and of its own. Yeah. Totally worth my money. Then you get to Hulu, and I'm like, you have a subscription plan, and then you have a non-commercial subscription plan. And then Amazon Prime I have because of just my purchasing on Amazon. It's just, it works out. But
yeah, whatever. That I don't even use the streaming.
I don't either.
I happen to have it.
But I agree, man. Like, I could easily torrent these. I could get the entire 10-season run in an hour and a half or so, and be done with it. But I'm trying to take the high road here and support this. And you make it hard. You make it very difficult for me to want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I look at this, and I mean, we're going to be doing this realistically for the next 2 years if we do the schedule that we have set up. So that's from now. That's $240 a piece that we're spending to watch this.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, okay. I think that you can get the entire SG1 run on Amazon for like $100. I think.
Is that like a DVD?
Yeah,
though?
the DVD. Yeah, $127.95 to get Stargate SG1 complete series 1 through 10.
Yeah, you want to know something? I already fucking own it, and I'm willing to pay that $240 so I don't have to put the DVD in my PlayStation every time I want to watch an episode.
Okay, then I've got no defense for you on that one, buddy. But no, I mean, and the same argument could be made, and sorry for our listeners, we're going off topic here for a minute. The same time, when downloading music was all the rage, in the late 90s, it's now become like, I do Spotify. So that's like $6.99 a month, something like that. Don't quote me on that. But even if I wanted to buy an album off iTunes or buy a single, it's now cost effective for me to do that. So I don't feel like I have to pirate music.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
The cost has come down enough on that it's justifiable for me to just to buy a single or just pay for Spotify or pay for iTunes Music or Pandora or whatever you want to use. And digital movies, digital TV shows, it's not 100% there yet, I don't think.
No, and that's kind of my point. I think you're 100% on the head with there. I have no problem spending 99 cents on a song that I love. I think that TV, movies, and books need to really get their shit together, because there's no reason I should have to spend as much for a digital book as I do for a physical copy of that book.
That's forever going to be the problem, buddy.
It's, you know what? But seriously, if they lowered the price from $12 on a book that I can pick up used for a penny plus shipping, I would actually spend more money, and they would get my money rather than it going to a used bookstore for a penny basically every time, because I would download a book if it was $3 or $4.
Yeah.
You know, no problem, no question.
I have the same problem with video games. I'm a big gamer, and you can't fucking, there's no point that you can argue on why I'm spending $60 for a physical copy or $60 for a digital copy. Like, I'm saving you money because you don't have to fucking package that shit. You know?
And that they make the argument that we're putting the guy that drives the truck out of business, and we're doing this, and we're doing... You know what? Don't fucking worry about that, because the market will change, and he'll get another job doing something else.
It's 2017.
That's what it is.
You know?
You know what? I'm very sorry that you know, for your loss, figure something else out. Maybe get a job delivering electric cars or vape refills for fucking e-cigs, or I don't know.
Goddamn hipsters.
There's always something else out there.
No, there is.
But really, you know, you're not wrong. Like, I got a video game the other day. I bought Just Cause 3. I spent $5 on it used. I love the game. I think it's fantastic. And now I got to spend $25 on the downloadable content for it to continue playing.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to spend $25 on a game I spent $5 on. I'd rather just play the game.
Uh-huh. Dude, this could be a whole other fucking podcast episode, to be honest with you. Like, it really...
Sorry.
No, don't be, because it's fine. I'm sure every listener out there has been through this. Like, it's hard. It's just hard to justify, because digital medium is a relatively new thing. Like, digital books, digital movies, digital games. It's still fairly relative. I know that we've had it for a few years now, but it's a relatively new industry. So there's going to be some works that are going to have to happen, and it's going to have to be basically people like us just saying, hey, I'm not buying it new at $60. Like, I'll wait the fucking 2 months, and it's going to drop down to 30, and I'm good to go, you know?
Right.
But yeah, fucking video game DLC is a whole other fucking line of podcasting that I could get into.
Oh,
such a ripoff.
God,
So
that's what makes me hate, like, the Batman games for PlayStation and Xbox, is because no matter what you do, you're getting a portion of the game at release, and then you're welcome to spend money. Or even fucking worse than that is like Call of Duty and all that shit, where you're spending $60 for a game, and then over the life of that game, you got to spend another $60 to $80 to be able to continue playing with your friends.
Not only that, you're going to continue to pay $60 or $24.99 for that DLC that is already on that fucking disc.
Yep. They just have to unlock it for you.
Like, it's on there. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm going to get real angry. I'm going to kick a puppy. I better not. But yeah,
he'll bite you.
My dog will, man. If I even move a fucking foot towards him, he's going to lose his shit. But yeah, so we'll talk about that later. So like I said, next week we've got Point of View, Dead Man Switch, and Demons. Kevin, you have 3 episodes to watch. I have 2.
Fantastic. I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be a good time. Thank you, everybody, for the downloads. Thank you, everybody, for the comments. We both appreciate it greatly. Any information to get a hold of us will be in the show notes. And like I said, man, if there's anybody out there that wants to talk to me and Kevin about Flat Earth, I don't know if Kevin would be down for that conversation. I would be down for that conversation. I will record it. We'll put it up in some form. But again, I don't want to talk to somebody that just wants to play devil's advocate. I would like to have an open conversation with somebody. So,
yeah, exactly.
Thanks for everybody for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the episode, and we will see you next time.
Bye.